What do being crew? It's your boy Savon Thomas. We are back with another episode of Coffee and Friends. Today we're going to review the mess of a season that was season 6 of Love is Blind. With me today we have some returning faces, some people you guys are familiar with. We have Ziona, Ruru. I still know I say your last name, but I'm gonna keep on saying it. I say your first name wrong, I think too. It's Ziona, but I like to say Ziona for some reason. It just sounds like the O emphasis on the O. And then we have Jasmine Mabry. Z was with us for what podcast was that? Z Manifest. Yep. And then Jasmine was with us for Queen Charlotte. But Z wanted to be on Queen Charlotte, but
I
she was
did.
with she was on the Manifest pod. But returning guests, how is everybody doing? We'll start with Z. Manifest pod. Last time we seen you, which is probably like a year ago. How have you been?
Wow, it's been a year. That's awesome. I have been doing great. Got my coffee and comments mug here. It's not a shameless plug. It's a
Shout out to merch.
shout out to merch. But I've been doing great. I started a fitness page. My handle is here, Z's Gains. So just posting fitness content and lifestyle content relating to the gym, working out, nutrition, all that stuff. So that's what I've been up to.
Nice.
And yeah, just living life.
That is awesome. Yeah, I follow Z's gains. I can't do all the workouts that she does. Well, I can do some of them. She does like a lot of deadlift stuff. I find that the women pages that do follow y'all focus on like legs and glutes all the time, and I'm like, how
We
often
do. We
are
do.
we hitting legs and glutes? Like, do we hit anything else? Like
I
that's,
told
that's
I do back a lot. Like I've
okay.
become obsessed with back
I've
work.
seen that.
And boxing. So I love boxing,
Yes,
kickboxing, and so I do a little bit of those. But yeah, I mean, what do we need upper body for when we have lower body? Like that's the main focus. Like, come on now,
I
guys.
swear.
Why do guys not do leg day? That's the real question.
Whoa,
They should.
whoa, 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 whoa. We do
They
leg
should.
day. We
Um,
do we do leg day. Stop. I do leg day. I do squats. I'll be under the bar. I'll be squatting. Shout out to Z. Welcome back, Z. Our other return guest from the Queen Charlotte Pod. We have Jasmine, who also has her handle as well. Friends, both of them have their Instagram handles. You guys know me. But Jasmine, how have you been? What have you been up to since our last pod, which is close to a year ago as well?
yeah, I've been great. Y'all can find me on HYFRHJ on Instagram and TikTok. I'm there for all your dance, travel, and food, all in the Dallas area. So I've been good. Getting more into the gym. Z been motivating me to do weight. So, your girl got gains this summer.
She's been getting them gains.
What's the best or the most recent like review you did for food? Like, is there a place that you tried recently that was really good?
The most recent place I did was Dream Tacos, which is in Plano off of 121 in Preston.
Okay,
Really aesthetic, really actually good food. I hate when the food is trash, but the aesthetic is cool. I need both if I'm gonna go. So
that's cool. I haven't tried. There's not been any like food places that I've recently. I've been like, man, There's places I've seen that I've been like trying. The only place that I have like raved about per se is the burger place in Louisville, Burgerlicious. Phenomenal. Now my meal plan has been strictly different, so I haven't eaten out as much. But burger when I was eating out, when with Burgerlicious was fantastic. Good fries, good drink, black owned too, fantastic over in Louisville. But cool. Well, I appreciate the updates. Let's get into season 6 of Love Is Blind. Right. So for those that never seen the show, they're just randomly watching this. Love Is Blind is they call it an experiment where basically instead of choosing somebody based off of their looks, they go into these pods where they can't see the other person on the opposite side. They can only just hear their voice, and it's based off personality. Is what the show's supposed to be about. And the test is love really blind? And so it's always interesting. There's 6 seasons now. Every single season has been interesting to me. Except for season 5, I totally skipped that one. But I've seen every single one, and so each season has been unique. But season 6, in my opinion, has been the messiest, the most dramatic season of all the seasons I've seen so far. So we have, I think it's six. Was it 6 couples? 6 total couples. Which one do you guys want to start with first? Which couple?
Oh Lord. I mean, you want to get the the easy couple.
No, I don't want to talk about. I don't want to talk about Johnny and Amy. They're last on my list for a reason. I said it in no order in particular because, I don't want to talk about them first. Johnny and Amy were so they just, anyways. So we can start. You guys want to go AD and Clay or Jimmy and Chelsea Fox?
Let's talk about Jimmy and Chelsea because
that's a lot.
Process those two.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who wants to kick it off? Who wants to give thoughts on Jimmy and Chelsea Fox's relationship?
Got my notes here.
I'll kick off, and I'm jokingly calling her Chelsea Fox because we see in the pods she compares herself to Megan Fox. Now, all the girlies on TikTok and Instagram have been like, "Oh, I kind of see it. She kind of looks like her."
She does.
She does not. She does not.
First of all, if she had darker hair, and I just think it's her facial structure. Like, if you look at just her eyes, nose, mouth, like here, you can see the resemblance. And if she had darker hair, like someone did it, someone on TikTok like shifted her face structure and darkened her hair, and she looked exactly like Megan Fox. I mean, I don't think this whole thing was just blown way out of proportion. I mean, if you want to compare her to any celebrity, I mean, that's someone that could likely, like, she could most likely look like out of all the celebrities I know. And I feel like
let me see if I can pull this picture. Keep talking, but I'm gonna see if I can pull this picture up.
Yeah, people think it's just this out of this world, absurd resemblance. Like, no, they definitely have a resemblance. It's not like twin, like they don't look exactly the same, but she resembles her a little bit. I agree. Yeah.
It won't let me pull it out. I was trying to mess with it a little bit, but it won't let me pull it out.
Should not have talked about like what's it called? They should not have talked about how they look in the first place, but because they did that, now it's the whole thing. But she does look like her a little bit.
No, if she looks like any celebrity, to me, she looks like Molly Ringwald.
I don't know. Let me Google.
Like literally.
Like 16 Candles Molly Ringwald or older Molly Ringwald?
Oh.
Older.
Older Molly Ringwald. Interesting. I don't know. I there's no celebrity. Megan Fox is just wow. Like it's hilarious to me too. No, I don't know. Like when somebody says you look like somebody, like it's more than just like, oh, they have the same eyes, right? I like, to me, it's like it's a whole aesthetic. Like your entire, like you look like this person. To be a lookalike, in my opinion. Like if she said, people tell me I have the same eyes as, or I kind of look like this. She did say, no, her saving grace. She did say I don't agree with this, but like just don't say like this is who I look like. You know what I mean? Like.
That's how Jimmy took it. Jimmy was like, "Oh, she looks like Megan Fox. Let's go." But see, he played himself because she wasn't saying she looks exactly like Megan Fox. She was just saying she resembles her a little bit, and she didn't even agree. So,
yeah, I don't think she like Megan Fox, personally, but it's not an issue. I don't look like a celebrity either, so it's not a big deal.
You do look like a celebrity.
I don't look like Sean Kingston, not anymore. I used to look like Sean Kingston. He looks way different now. I wish I could pull him up. My face, anyways. So, but yeah, Jimmy and Chelsea Fox. So they get together in the pod, and we see Jimmy have a kind of a battle between Jimmy and Jess. In your opinion, who should Jimmy have chosen between those two girls? Because I have a thought, but I want y'all to give y'all's thoughts.
Well, like on the surface, like even after they getting, are you talking about after the pods, like possibly after the pods of how they
in the pods?
Okay, I think on the surface it was like, oh, Jess was probably more perfect for you, but at the end of the day, I think Jimmy and Chelsea, they are what each other needed.
Interesting.
And I don't think that Jimmy could have handled Jess being a mom. Personally, because he kind of freaked out when he freaked out when Chelsea said that she was divorced, but he really kind of freaked out when she was like, I have a kid, and he just couldn't fathom in his head, like, dang, she got some stuff going on.
Yeah.
So I think what I think his thought process was basically like he had these two women, and from what I understand, for him talking about Jess, he was like, number one, she's very fiery, spicy, like she wasn't really comforting him the way he wanted to be comforted. I feel like Chelsea gave him that. So she was very like blunt to the point, like a little bit aggressive with him, I guess. And I guess he didn't really like that. Which I don't know. I don't understand. I just think she's just outspoken. I don't think she was necessarily like mean to him. And another thing, I do agree with Jasmine when he talked about like he was a little freaked out about the fact that she had a kid. So I think he was just weighing his options. He was like, okay, Chelsea makes me feel good. Plus, she probably looks like Megan Fox, and I have this other girl. I don't know what she looks like, and she's a little bit mean to me. Plus, she has a kid. Like, who am I going to choose in that situation? So I feel like with the information he had, it would have been right for him to choose Chelsea. But us looking at it like hindsight, we're like, Jess was probably perfect for you, because I really do feel like they would have been perfect for each other, especially after she shared that letter with him. And it was like, I was like, that's a wholesome moment. Like they could have really worked. Um, so yeah, I just feel like it could have worked with Jess, but it also couldn't have not, because she was a little spicy and she could have, scared him off. I don't know. But I just feel like with the information he had, he probably it was best for him to choose Chelsea.
Yes. So I think he made the right decision by choosing Chelsea. And here's why. In my opinion, based off what I've seen, Jess is very well spoken, but I get serious mean girl vibes from her. And what I mean by that is the fact that post the show ending, Laura 100% I get mean girl vibes. She got done dirty by Jeremy, but I get super mean girl vibes from Laura,
I
and the
agree.
way she kind of like was like telling Jess, "Oh, that's not your man" situation. That was weird. But the fact that she's friends with Micah right after the show wraps up, like they have a connection, lets me know the type of people that she is. Like Irina and Micah were the mean girls of season 4 in Seattle, and nobody liked them. Nobody liked Micah and Irina. So the fact that Jess congregates towards Micah just lets me know birds of a feather flock together. And I like you talked about in the pods, he mentioned that she was spicy, quote unquote, or whatever you want to say. I think personally, she's a beautiful girl, but I think she gets away with like her looks because she is beautiful, that she can kind of treat dudes however she wants to. At least that's how she's done. At least what I think. This is my thoughts. I don't know this girl at all, but based off me watching the show, she can get away with treating guys however, and they stick around because she's good looking, but nobody ever builds that substance of like a long term relationship with her because of her attitude. In that she is this mean girl. But she does speak very well, so she covers her bases. But I think at the depths of her, like off camera, she has this like attitude that I don't agree with. That's my
See,
thoughts about Jess.
I think Jess is a writer. Like, yeah, she's a little spicy. Yeah, she could be like a mean girl, but I think she's a writer for her dude. Like how she presents herself, how she gave her all to Jimmy. I think she would have wrote for him through the whole thing and gone through the whole marriage thing. Even though I don't think they were right for each other, I think she's a writer.
See,
Yeah.
I think. Sorry to cut you off, Z, but I think that the best thing that happened to Jess was the way this ended because now everybody and their mom is fans of Jess. Versus if it had played out with Jimmy and Jess and they saw all of Jess, I don't think it would have been the same. Personally, I don't think the reaction would have been the same. But that's me personally. But go off, Z.
No, yeah, I was just saying about the mean girl vibe. I don't necessarily see her as a mean girl. I just think she has a thick skin because she's probably gone through a lot, and I just feel like she's protective of herself. Like she has her walls up. She's protective of herself and her daughter, and I feel like that was the. I mean, with Laura, I mean, I feel like I get mean girl vibes from Laura, absolutely 100%. But with Jess, I just think that she was just first of all, she was hurt, taken aback with everything. But like Jasmine said, she poured herself into the process. Like she gave him that note. Like she was like, I'm gonna marry this man. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
I don't think she was necessarily mean to him. I just feel like he was more just comfortable with Chelsea, and he didn't want to deal with the nuances that came with Jess. But I feel like as a person, I don't necessarily. She's a girl's girl from what I see. Like I feel like she's a girl's girl, but she's just a little. She's that friend that would tell you how it is. She's that friend that's like a little bit rough around the edges. People might think she's mean, but I feel like deep down she's not that type of person. That's how I see it. I don't necessarily. I feel like you see the flip on the flip side, but I kind of see it the other way around. I don't know.
Yeah, because now her and Chelsea are like best friends.
Yeah.
And it after all the stuff that went down, you think that at a point Jess was like totally against Chelsea, but she really kind of wanted what was best for her. She's like, I get it, he didn't choose me. I hope, everything goes well with you.
Yeah, she's again, I have no issue with her. I just think like in a relationship is a little bit different. Like when I say because Chelsea's also friends with Laura too. So like my thing is like I get mean girl vibes from Laura as well. So it's not just like a Jess thing, like Laura and Jess. So my mind is like, first of all, Micah. I did not like Micah in season 4. So the fact that they're friends is just these little trail of breadcrumbs that I'm following. Jess could be the nicest person in the world. She's all over social media. She's doing all these different things, and then we saw her at the obviously reunion, and she had her time. But it's just I don't know that relationship was weird. But Jimmy and Chelsea, their relationship, the thing about Jimmy and Chelsea, 2 things. One, justice for Jimmy. This man on camera was doing his best. Now, off camera, they say there's interviews where apparently he was out partying when they got in an argument, stuff like that. So if he's an asshole that he is when he's off camera, that's different. But on camera, I feel like the dude did as much as possible to show that he actually loved Chelsea because he often went out of his way to compliment this girl, tell her how much he loved him, like how much he loved her. And at the honeymoon, telling every single person, I have the best relationship here. And it just wasn't enough for Chelsea because she was often in comparison mode. And there were some things within her that she talked about that there was like some inferiority complex or she just wasn't confident. But I feel like Jimmy showed that he did love her, but everybody's just like, Jimmy didn't love that girl. But it's like what else could he have done to show that he loved her other than telling her like all the time that he loved her? Like I'm curious on what you guys' thoughts on how Jimmy could have done better.
I don't think he was telling her just to tell her.
Sorry, guys. Keep going.
He told her because she was asking him to. And all the stuff that I've seen outside of like him being on camera, he would never do all those things. And then he would do it while the cameras were rolling. And then she'd be like, do you like me? Yeah, I think you're the most beautiful thing. I think him saying that he had the best relationship was a cop-out to try to say that his relationship was stronger than what it was. Honestly.
Yeah. I'm going to say that Jimmy deserves a freaking Oscar. Oscar goes out to that man because this man not only tried to convince everyone that he was in love with her, he tried to convince himself. Like he was literally trying so hard to make himself believe that he loved her, but we could all see through the BS. I feel like we could all see through it. Like, tell me why from the moment he saw her, just his reaction, body language, like body language experts can read him and see like just how obviously all this is speculation. We don't actually know how he was feeling, but how he came across was very disingenuous as far as his feelings towards her. Now, he was committed to the process and he wanted to make it work. Like he tried to convince himself that he loves her, but his actions were saying otherwise. And he was so quick to like call it off whenever, I mean, obviously Chelsea had her own issues, which we'll talk about, but as far as Jimmy himself, like he was so like, he was, I feel like he was one of those guys that they don't have the guts to break up with you. So they act and do everything they can in their power to have you like call it off. Right. And I feel like that was the vibe I was getting from Jimmy. I feel like he was telling everyone, oh, my relationship is the strongest while he was commenting on AD's body and just doing all this weird stuff. Like, come on now. Like he was just saying all that to convince himself and convince everyone watching. But I feel like we all saw through it.
And then also causing a scene at the picnic because Chelsea was like, "Oh, Amy and Johnny, I think y'all have the strongest relationship," and he got all upset. "Oh, you don't think we're the strongest relationship?" Like,
Because
come on.
he wanted to use that as an excuse again to make it not work. He was always finding excuses to make this not work. Like he was
See,
always
so my thought as a guy, my thought is, I know guys like Jimmy, like that will say they just say whatever's on their mind. And here's how I imagine his thought process is I am so like we're so solid that I can talk about anything, and like we just joke about anything. Like his comment about AD, he treated, I guess also because he has female friends, he treated
like
her. Well, he also has guy friends too. He posts about it too. So it's like the show only showed the female friends. And there's a reason why there's drama. But because he talked to her as if she was a female friend that wasn't insecure. We like us watching it. We know Chelsea's insecure as hell. But like for him, in the moment, I get this is my assumption. I don't know, but he's talking to her as if like it's just okay to say whatever about whatever. And
I
the
feel
comment about AD's body, he said to her only. But Chelsea was so insecure that I don't know, again, was the comment justified? No, you don't say stuff like that, especially to your girlfriend. But he just said it because I guess he felt like he's talking to one of his friends and their friendship, because the relationship's strong. That's my thought process. But feel free to say what you can say.
But would you be complimenting other girls like that around your girlfriend, around
So,
your fiance?
so funny you said this. So my girlfriend will go somewhere and she'll be like, "That girl has a big butt," right? She'll make comments. I'm sure y'all have done this before, and with
Yeah.
y'all's friends, comment on other girls. So what's the difference?
I feel like he should have read the situation better. Like when they were like all in couples, like all trying to focus on their relationship. Like, and he knows at this point, he already sees Chelsea's tendencies. He knows how she acts and how she reacts. But for him purposefully going out of his way to make that comment and just like, I feel like he wasn't really engaged. Like he was just like occupied with other things that Chelsea herself. And I feel like that's what was making her insecure as well, because other couples were like there to focus on themselves. Obviously, yes, they're interacting with each other, whatever, but just being so intuitive to your partner, I feel like he lacked that, and his actions weren't really showing that. Like that's why we were saying, "Oh, dude, was a green flag." What's his name, Kenneth? Just because of how he we'll get to that guy later, but just because of
Well,
how he was acting towards is it Brittany at the
Yeah.
time, and just like taking care of like, hey, do you need anything?
Being
Like
attentive.
was being attentive. Jimmy did not care. He was there to have a good time, drink, and just do whatever. Like that's what he was like in party mode, and that was hurting Chelsea because she wanted attention from him, which she has her issues, but like, come on, he knows what he was doing.
Because it
so
also came out too, because that even Jess and Chelsea both confirmed it. It made Chelsea look crazy that Jimmy went out for an hour and a half, but he goes out every night. And it came out and it made her look crazy because, oh, you're tripping over an hour and a half with her friends, da da da. Dude, you go out every single night. And that's
Yep.
just what we don't see.
Yeah.
If he
It's just,
wanted to be with her, he would have been with her in the bed. Not lying to her, FaceTime and saying, "Oh, I'm going to sleep." Phone rings, she gets butt dialed, and he's like, "Where's the party at?"
yeah.
You know.
That's not how a man acts if he's in love with you. If a man is in love with you, he'll go out of his way to make sure you know that like he'll go out of his way to show you that. But he wasn't doing that. He wasn't going out of his way. He was just going with the flow. And he was lying to himself that he loved her. He didn't.
So I'm curious, because again, I'm Team Justice for Jimmy. I'm Team Jimmy. My boy did some stuff wrong. He said the wrong things. He reminds me, and somebody said this on Twitter too, and I was like, this is why like I have this affinity. But Jimmy reminds me of Cole. I don't know if you guys remember Cole from the season with Dallas
No,
in
there's
Dallas DFW. It reminds me of the same situation with Cole, to where everybody ganged up on Cole. Cole said the same stuff. He would say crazy stuff, but it's like he wasn't doing it out of malice. He was trying to show Zenab that he loved her, and then at the altar, Zenab goes off and they break up, and then the whole cutie situation. And so I've always been like Team Cole. justice for Cole. And in my mind, this is the same situation
No,
because like how else can you prove like he on the show again? We've seen interviews, posts, and everything like that. But on this show, we're watching it. He went out of his way to show her he did love her and be with her.
when?
He told her, he didn't show her.
At the okay, so let's go through the honeymoon situation, right? At the honeymoon situation at the party, he even brought it up himself when they started arguing afterwards. She was like, "You made me feel uncomfy." He wasn't Kenneth, but he did often come over to her to be with him, right? To talk to her, and then he would go party with everybody else. They come back and find her. They talked about. He brought it up, right? When they were at the house, they argued often. He went on party off scene. We didn't see that, but we often saw him talk about like with his family, with her friends, with his friends, how awesome the relationship was, how much he loved her. Like there was, it showed all the time. So like that's what I'm curious on. What do you feel like he could have done to show his love more, to show that he proved that he loved her, other than everything he was doing? Because I feel like everybody just dismisses the stuff that he did do for her.
I think the difference between him and Cole was, yeah, Cole was kind of crazy and he said wild stuff, but he was always like I'm kidding, I'm being goofy, I'm being funny, but he always did show Zenab that he loved her. The same is not the same for Jimmy. Like Jimmy was never, I feel like he said those things just to kind of cut it short with Chelsea and make things less uncomfortable than what it was.
Yeah.
Like he did it just to kind of reassure her, but I don't think he really meant it.
Maybe it's just a personality thing. Maybe that's just how he acts. We're not saying like Jimmy's a bad guy or anything, or he has to be like Kenneth and show his love the same way everyone else does. But we just have the feeling that you just know when someone's trying to like be invested and like to really make this work with everything. Like I just feel like he just wasn't, and maybe that was his way of coping, like partying and doing all these other stuff, like just being disconnected, I guess. But like that was what was driving Chelsea crazy, and a lot of people try to paint her as this like clingy crazy girl, which she has her issues. Like I said,
she was clingy. She was definitely clingy.
She had her insecurities, but I don't think he came out of thin air. I think he was definitely doing stuff that triggered some of her behaviors, and she just didn't know how to handle it. That's how I'm taking it, at least. But
because like the clingy comment, it's like him going out. It's her like, oh well, dang, you want to go out? Well, why don't you just want to be with me? I see why it seemed like she was clingy because she would have never seen that man.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, there's a lot that we probably don't know, but I'm just saying everything's not as it seems, and I don't think like Chelsea was like. I feel like they definitely exaggerated her whole clinginess and like craziness and all that. I feel like it was exaggerated because I definitely think Jimmy was doing things to warrant some of that. But I mean, I would never act like that. Like I'm an avoidant person. So if you're acting crazy, I'm not talking to you. We're not addressing it. I'm avoiding. Like I'm not being clingy or anything. I'm distancing myself. But some people, that's her attachment style. So I guess that's how she cope with the situation. But I'm not saying it's right, but Jimmy had his flaws. Chelsea had her flaws. At the end of the day, they try to make it work. It didn't work. It is what it is.
Yeah. Chelsea is very clingy. So I'm not going to dismiss that. She is definitely clingy. And I get that Jimmy, he wasn't partying all the time because they both did interview together. He wasn't partying all the time. He was out often, but it wasn't every single night the boy was going. He brought it up in the interview when they both did it together because they talked about it together. That when they argued was the situation when he was out and the button down situation. They argued that night. Is it right? No, I'm not. Like I don't justify anything Jimmy did. I just find it so funny the adverse reaction to Jimmy online. At least what I've seen online. People have their opinions. My comments are just in contrast to everything that I've seen talked about from Jimmy online. Because for me, I'm like, I see what you guys are saying. Not y'all specific. I'm talking to Twitter specifically. And I just don't see the same thing. Like I see it, but I feel like people just gloss over everything. But Chelsea, 100% clingy, 100% clingy in my opinion. There's so many times when like I don't know, it's her attachment style you talked about. She even brought it up herself. Like there's insecurities, and I feel like the reunion didn't do enough to address Chelsea. No. Any of the couples, they address certain situations but didn't bring up uh, Chelsea at all. Like nobody ever talked about Chelsea's in this season at the reunion, which is crazy. Like at the reunion, because this is a transition to Trevor, but it was just like we want to make sure people know that this is a real show and not fake. So we're going to attack Sarah Ann not because she ran off with one of the guys, but because she made a TikTok about it being entertainment because she was getting so much hate, she had to do something to deflect people. Let's attack that. Let's attack Trevor for not treating this seriously, and let's bring all these couples that now have a successful marriage, quote unquote. It didn't even it just like they showed parts from the show, but they didn't really address nothing during the reunion other than that. Like I feel like that was the reunion. So
They gave too much to Jerami and Laura.
Yeah, no, they definitely that reunion was definitely a statement to everyone. It was definitely like if you come on this show, first of all, you don't feel like you're gonna mess with us and sneak around whatever Trevor did. But I feel like he deserved, being called out, but not in that fashion. Like they put that man to shame.
No,
He was speechless. Like no one
that
deserves.
was the best part of the year. That was so funny.
As much he was humiliated. Like,
That was,
come on now. What he did was dirty and he deserves to be like punished in some way, whatever. But what they did to him, that was a statement to people. Like, if you come on our show and mess up, we're gonna drag you through the mud, like basically. And that's the same thing they did to Sarah Ann. They were just like really defending their show at this point, and it was like they did not address a lot of things, and they wasted too much time on the whole Laura Sarah Ann situation. And yeah, the reunion it could have been better, but it was definitely messy since I guess that's what they were going for.
I think Trevor got what he deserves. The reason why I say that is because Trevor was all, oh, Chelsea, blah, 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 you're the love of my life, you're da 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 da. You're telling Chelsea you love her, but you had a girl before this whole thing started saying, oh, I love you, but I'm still going to go and talk to other women. Get out of here.
He said they were toxic. She knew what she was signing up for. Why is she staying with him then? If she they knew the situation it was a horrible situation. I get it. It was horrible. But they both going in knew what it was. And they both agreed to do that horrible thing. So it's not just
go ahead, keep going. Sorry, let me cut you off.
No, I'm like, it's not just Trevor to be blamed. Like, and Chelsea dodged a bullet, absolutely 100%. But he definitely deserves to be like, they could have spoken on it and like made it more like, but they brought receipts. This man was speechless on live TV.
Yeah, because here's the thing, you don't bring the receipts and they sit there and lie about it. Well, then what? And then we're gonna get mad. Oh, well, they didn't say enough about what was supposed to be said about Trevor, and then we let him off the hook.
Yeah.
In other reunions, they're like, oh, well, they didn't talk about this and they left this off the hook. They should have told him about now it's the same thing, and you're like, oh, y'all persecuting Trevor. No, he got what he deserved.
No, I'm cool with the Trevor situation. That was my favorite part of the reunion. I just feel like because of that, like that triggered them bringing on other people, so they felt the need to like bring on like I don't give a damn about Kwame and old girl. I could care less. I care less about Micah. I could give a damn about Micah. Like there's all these different people, huh?
Gigi.
I was like I don't even remember this girl. So like yeah, I don't remember. So like that my thing was like.
Kwame's facial expression was definitely creme de la creme. Like he, like that was me the whole time. Like his facial expressions definitely like gave it a little spice. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I did not need to know about all of them and their lives. We can get that information in social media, but they skipped over a lot of people. And yeah, we should have known. Like they didn't even ask if Jimmy and Chelsea were still together. Like if they were, like different things like that. Important information we didn't know. So
are AD and Clay still hanging out or what? Like, things like that.
Okay, speaking of Chelsea.
No. Let's keep single Chelsea, Jimmy and Chelsea. We'll get to AD and Clay.
Okay, speaking on Chelsea, a lot of people said Sarah Ann is a pick-me. I definitely feel like Chelsea and AD, talk about AD later, they're both pick-me's just because if this man is causing you this much turmoil and he's showing you all that, like he doesn't want you, you're still clinging to him, you're still like doing everything in your power to like make it work, which I get is part of the show, but it was definitely giving pick me energy. And a lot of girls talk about girls being pick me if they're not a girl's girl. That's one aspect of it. But the other aspect of being a pick me is if you're doing everything in your power to make a man who clearly doesn't want you to want you. Like,
I disagree.
let it rest. Let it rest. That's why people are saying she's clingy. That's why people are saying she's like all these different things, is because she was trying too hard. And AD was doing the same thing. I'm sorry. I love them both.
Let's put a pause on that. I want to bring this back. I want to bring back this point out when we get to either Sarah Ann or AD. But I just want to wrap up Chelsea and Jimmy. We spent a lot of time on them. So would you guys have preferred that Chelsea and Trevor get together and Jimmy and Jess get together? Or did you like the fact that it was Jimmy and Chelsea at the end of the day?
Jimmy
I
and
would
Chelsea.
prefer them both getting together with other people. But now that we know the situation, especially with Trevor, we don't want that. But in an ideal world, that would be perfect.
Yeah. So prior to the reunion, I thought they messed up. I thought Jimmy messed up. Not because Jess's looks. Like everybody's stuck on like looks for the show. That's what throws me off too. Everybody's like, "Oh, they look so good." It's like it's a show about personality. Who gives a damn about what they look like? But Jess, I was really hoping Jess and Jimmy got together, and then Chelsea and Trevor. Because Trevor, in my opinion, and now we know post reunion, maybe he didn't really love Chelsea, but in the pods, he really loved that girl. That's what it seemed. And I was really hoping that they got together. And what broke, like one of the things that broke my heart with the pods that they showed was when Trevor was like, "If I had gone first, would you have said yes to me?" I was like, "Damn," because that's probably what she probably would say yes to Trevor first. I think personally, because Chelsea just wanted anybody to love her. Like I don't think she was confident enough for somebody to love her. And the fact that one person told her she loved him, whatever she loved her, she was very surprised. That's why she broke down. And then the fact that there was two, she was like, "What in the world is going on?" So, anyways, that's my thoughts. Last bow. Let's put a bow on Jimmy Chelsea. Any final thoughts on the relationship or anything I just said?
I thought that my TV froze when Trevor was sitting there like.
They put that man to shame.
That was hilarious.
Trevor is awful too. I don't know what he was doing. He got caught and he was thrown out into society and was demolished. I feel kind of bad for about that. And I don't think they really should have done that to him, but I mean that was ruthless. But he did say he was gonna do it and like stand up and like be there. He didn't have to, but he took it and he was
I don't think he knew that was coming.
Terrible choice.
He did. It was everywhere before the reunion. Yeah.
Because he said I had a whole speech prepared and now I don't know.
Okay, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
He just was like blind. I think he didn't think it was gonna be that ruthless.
In the spot, he just didn't know what to say. I don't know. Like I like if I would want to give him the benefit of the doubt, like it would be okay. I get it.
Benefit?
No. Like the point of he was saying like I wanted to change it up. There's a lot of people that say like I go for this, but I want to try it out in a different way. Like, I want to go a different way, and so it's just the only thing of saying like I love you at the end and everything like that. Where it kind of trips me up. But it's like I want to like maybe give you a little bit of the doubt, just saying like okay, I wanted to try something else. So I went to this show and to do it. And I guess since he didn't find nothing, he's like, all right, I need to go back where I was at. And like you said, he was just toxic. So I think that was just. I don't know. It's weird. Like I look like I don't know. In the past, he was such a nice dude. So I look like I want to give him like small bit of the doubt, but it's like I don't know.
He almost got away with it. He planned.
He really did.
Just like Clay, he planned things. Like he planned.
I wonder who aired him out though. Like I wonder if it was his ex-girlfriend. Like she was just spurned and she was like, "I'm gonna air this shit out."
That's
like,
crazy.
Get these texts.
What was hilarious?
Oh, really?
What was hilarious when he was like, "Oh, can I go?" And Nick is like, "No, we're going in." Now you.
No, they put that man to shame.
I feel bad, but that's
what he gets.
Yeah,
that's what he gets.
Yeah. You gotta reap what you sow. So it's like that. He deserved it. Like that. Everybody, Sarah Ann deserved it too, but they went too hard on them. Trevor, fine. And then other couples at the reunion, I was like, bro, what are we doing with this? But
they took too much time on.
Sarah Ann deserved everything she got, and she still deserves what she's getting now. But besides the fact, Chelsea, I can't with her run, and I can't with her face.
I noticed
she said, "Not me running in heels," and then she said, run into Jimmy.
I saw the first time she did it when she ran to Jimmy, and then I noticed it again at the part when her friends came over. I'm like, babe, she's got a weird run. And so like I noticed it, and then it was actually a thing. And then online it was a thing. People were like roasting her and stuff.
Poor thing.
She's
Yeah.
cute.
And then Megan, I don't know why she had these, what is it called, realizations of she looked like these celebrities. And then her friend said Carrie Underwood, and I'm like, you don't look like any of those people. And Carrie Underwood and Megan Fox don't even look the same. So like, how is that? How do you look like both of those people?
Maybe
See,
Adele.
Jasmine? No, that was Z. Z said she sees it.
I see it. I see the.
Oh
I
my
see Megan Fox. Come on, like it's just because of how her face is. She's like a little chubby around the face. If she had a chiseled jaw and darker hair, I would see it. Honestly, it's just because of her face anatomy and how
You
she.
should see her body though, her whole body, not just like one
body
It's her
feature.
body though.
Like
It's her
everything. That's why her whole body.
But facially, like if you look at
This
her
is crazy.
eyebrows, her eyes, her nose, her mouth, she kind of looks.
If you splice this up like Heckle and Jekyll or Frankenstein, if you Frankenstein her face, you remove the chin. If you remove her chin, you splice her face a little bit.
If she went to
You kind of squint and see it. Turn your head sideways.
the whole
I love it.
if she went to the gym or something, I don't know. Maybe she might.
Wow.
I'm serious. I'm just being real.
I don't think it's her size. Like there's people that are bigger.
Why were you talking about her jaw and everything? Like it's the same thing. Like
she has a big chin. She has a bigger chin than Megan Fox does.
Yeah.
It's not nothing to do with like size. Like you can't work out your chin. Like that's bone. Like no matter what, she works out or not, the bone's gonna be there. She has a big chin. That's why people call her Natalie Nunn. People call her Natalie Nunn. And I was like, the only thing I see there is just a big chin. There's nothing more than that.
No, I mean if that's the case with them, I mean obviously we never know what goes on behind actual like real life. You only see like what is shown. But yeah, like I just think that was, I guess, a little bit overboard. She was really clingy with him. I don't think they were compatible with each other by the way that they both were and how they receive love. She's a very like I need love and the type of way like I need you to tell me you love me, touch me, and all this other stuff. And he's a very like you stay there, like maybe like acts of service kind of person. So yeah, they're not compatible in that way. Jess, I don't think she should be on these shows if she's not going to let her daughter watch them. I think that's the dumbest thing. Like, no, she's not watching it, and then she's going to go on another worse show, The Perfect
Right.
If you watch that. So I'm like, you're trying to be a role model and find a man for your like your little girl to like follow and like be like her dad or whatever, and you're going to go.
That's
on
a great point.
You're not going to watch it. What?
Yeah.
You make zero sense.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point. Jess is very. This is the point I made earlier. I'm gonna kind of spice some of this stuff up so it seems a little more even. But Jess, I was not a fan of Jess. She's very well spoken, but again, I feel like she's part of the Mean Girls Club in this show, similar to the other people, Zenab included. But Jess, that's a great point. Like, why, if you actually were on the show for love, why are you going on this other show where it's just trash? Right? Like, is she just trying to elevate her fame at this point now? Because she is famous. Like, I looked at everybody's following. Everybody, she has the most following on everybody now. And then AD, I think, is second. Everybody loves AD. So that's a great point you just said. Because why are you going to this other show if you're actually trying to find love, like you said?
Yeah.
I don't agree with her philosophy on that. Especially her, her whole thing was, I have a daughter and she's 10 years old. And I'm trying to find someone to be my person and to step in that role kind of like in our lives. But yeah, you're not going to let her see the episodes that you were barely on for one. And then you're going to go on a worse show, which makes zero sense. But
there are some actually good people that are going on The Perfect Match. Like Cole will be on The Perfect Match, Siobhan.
Let's hope.
I don't want to see my boy get his heart broken again. Like that's like I've never watched Perfect Match. So I don't know, I just know they bring other people from other shows that didn't work out. So it's I don't think anybody's gonna work out on that show. It just seems like entertainment.
The first people that did get engaged on The Perfect Match, they're split up in a month. So
I don't see that working out. It reminds me of, is it called the hottest match? What's that show with the teenagers where they can't they're these party teenagers that can't have sex. They're here to really find a match, and if they don't, they lose money. You've watched the show before, Jasmine.
Oh, what'd you say?
That's what that reminds me of.
Lana.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, doesn't matter. Well, let's move on to Kenneth and Brittany. So, what were y'all's thoughts? Any outstanding comments on Kenneth and Brittany? Here's what I think. I don't like again. I feel like most applies to me addressing Twitter. I hated the reactions to like the situation and people calling him gay. Everybody called this man gay, and I'm like, what? And it stemmed from there was somebody on Facebook, we don't know who, that posted a photo of him and was like, "Congrats to my cousin" or something like that. And they're like, "Yeah, he's gay." In the comments of that, and everybody's taking that and like kind of like put that on him, and I'm like, what is like black dude, big black guy. So I relate to this man. I'm like, bro, I'm like, kid, like he is what every woman is always like. We want a man that's emotionally intelligent, dude's like well spoken. He's a principal, loves kids. The one drawback is how much he's on his damn phone. But everything else, like I feel like women were like, this is the type of guy I want. But then, everything plays out and everybody calls him gay. I was like, that's crazy. So, anyways, what are y'all's thoughts on Kenneth and Brittany? Because they were, I don't know. I thought they'd make it.
I was disappointed because I really thought they were going to make it. Where I see the change was when AD talked to him. After AD talked to him and made him think about, okay, well, this is the first white girl you've dated. You kind of have to think about your family. You have to think about your, like, if you're going to have kids with this girl, how is everything going to kind of mesh? And that got in his head. And I think after that, he completely checked out.
What makes you think that?
Because he had a thought of, well, dang, I've never been with a white girl before. I've only been with black girls. And yeah, so how is my family dynamic going to be? How are my friends going to accept her? Is she going to be able to do my kids' hair? Because black hair is more difficult to work with. So I think he got all of that in his head and then was kind of like, this ain't going to work.
I disagree. So the reason why I say that is because post the honeymoon, like the man was on his phone. He talks about that in the reunion, but it wasn't as if he was the one that wasn't in a relationship. Like he was, but checked out because of being principal. But when Brittany came to him and said she doesn't feel the crave, he said, I do feel like he's like, I feel that. If you don't feel that, that's on you. People call him gaslighting, which is crazy. I'm like, how did you gaslight her? He's telling her that was a very emotional, like, good conversation. But he was telling her, he was like, I don't feel that. You feel that, so that's something that you need to deal with. Like, I don't feel like he ever checked out. I just think that they started to show more of his like just passivity. Like the guy is not this like big vocal dude. He's just like a very chill guy, in my opinion. Like the whole boat scene where the dude's just sitting there and it's quiet. In my opinion, it wasn't that he didn't want to talk to her. The nigga just likes to just chill on a boat. That's my thought.
You have to think of when that happened. That happened after AD talked to him.
Yes, but how often did they show Kenneth being himself before that? The only time they really show Kenneth was in the room when they're having the conversation, and then when Kenneth brings a chair to her and is very attentive to her. Other than that, they don't really show Kenneth's personality until after that situation happens. And then you start to see him, in my opinion, just being himself.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
I agree with you, Savon. I mean, I would say that I was so proud to see two Christian people on this show trying to make it work. I was like, yes, finally someone that's like people who are committed to God and like, okay, no sex before marriage, stuff like that. And I feel like that's important to talk about because a lot of people, sorry, my mom is calling me. So I'm like trying to go back and forth, disconnecting to my MacBook. But anyway, a lot of people world are toxic and they're not healed, especially on Twitter. Y'all need to go to therapy, all of y'all on Twitter, because men say all the time about how they want a man who's attentive, who is in tune with his emotions, treats her like a queen, whatever. And for me personally, a man who's willing to wait till marriage, like that is like awesome. Like, yes, the full package, right? And the whole gay allegations, I just feel like it's because people have a perception of how men should show up in the world and how men should be masculine. And I find Kenneth really masculine. I'm like, I was like, I would pick Kenneth in a heartbeat, 100%. Like his personality, even the way he looks, like he's a really good looking guy. But the whole gay thing was just because he didn't show up how people expect a black man to show up. People like Clay, right? Clay's toxic, gaslighting people, doing all this crazy stuff, really interested in the whole sex appeal stuff. Like people want that. And
There's also now allegations against Clay being gay. There's a scene somebody posted on TikTok where he said he did like this hand movement, and everybody was like, "Whoa!" But keep going,
I
keep
don't know
going.
why the media is so fascinated with making black men gay. That's a conversation for another day. They just want
I'm saying.
all and I'm just like, this is an agenda. We need to talk about it. But outside of that, I feel like for the whole personality thing, I don't think race was a problem at all. I don't think the conversation with AD affected his mood at all. I mean, that was I don't even think it was AD's place to bring it up at that time, at that place. Maybe it was right, but I just feel like it was the conversation around race was not like, that's what the experiment is for, right? Like Love is Blind. We don't really care about how you look, all of that. I mean, it's important when you're two people from different races are coming together. You need to have those conversations. Those are good conversations to have. And I feel like,
I said 100%. I'm agreeing with you.
That's a good conversation to have. Like, you can't just marry someone without having that conversation. That's wild. Like, but outside of that, I feel like he was really attracted to her, and the way their personalities was just a disaster. Like, they did not understand each other fundamentally. I feel like that's what happened, because they were right for each other on paper, but the way he acts, the way he shows up, like he's such a chill guy, like just living life like that. I like those type of guys. I'm like, I like chill guys who just like, they don't have no problems. They just chilling. They not arguing with you, doing crazy stuff. Like, that's I feel like she wasn't used to that type of personality, and she was in her head like, oh, does he really like me if he's not really talking, he's just like enjoying the view, like he's not focusing on me. They could have had conversations about how their personality is to better understand each other, but I don't think they did. They just kind of gave up on that.
Yeah, but then on the boat that day, they had a conversation of, okay, well, I'm physical touch. And he's like, well, I'm physical touch too. Yeah. But it never was really like kind of shown that he was physical touch. I get it. He's a chill dude. I'm not saying that he didn't like her because of her race, but it just made him think a little bit that I've never been with someone of another race. And I don't think AD came with it with some malice. It was just some things to kind of think about of, think about how your future can be. Not saying it's not going to work, but you still need to have those conversations and think about those things. And to me, it kind of seemed like he was a little bit uninterested, because if you're physical touch, you're physical touch.
Facts.
Yeah.
You're not like, oh, even if you're chill, you're still wanting to hold someone's hand, touch someone. He wasn't doing any of that. He was very distant on himself.
Yeah, and I feel like he was trying to respect their boundaries, and especially their commitment to like being celibate before marriage and all of that. I feel like he was trying to respect that, and he just didn't know how to go about that. He wasn't comfortable with her yet 100%. That's what I feel like happened. But at the end of the day, their personalities, the whole like in the kitchen conversation, apparently they already broke up and they just needed to film it for the camera, and he was over it at that point. That's why he was on his phone so much. But yeah, that I was like, if I was that girl and I was pouring my feelings out to you and you're on your phone, I was like, bro, we're about to fight. Because what? Like, she was there crying and everything. He was just like,
he just walked upstairs.
He was like, all right, we done. Okay. I was like, you're a green flag. Don't make me turn you to a beige flag right now.
At that point, they were painting him the villain.
Yeah.
At that point, because they were like, Kenneth was this good dude. Now he's like, oh, I don't really care about you. All right, I'm gonna be on my phone. All right, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're still friends, and I love that. I mean, they're so cute. I wish they would have made it work. Like, they just didn't understand each other. But I guess they just weren't right for each other. But I was like, I love them so much. I was rooting for them.
Not just still friends. They talk every day. Like, that's like they're like really good friends. But I agree with what you're saying. That Kenneth definitely didn't like, if you're physical, like Jazz, you said this too. If you're physical touch, you're physical touch. Like, I'm physical touch. Like, it's so like, I don't really think he was like, I understand like the boundary thing, but I also understand where Brittany was coming from, where she's like, even though we're not having sex till marriage. She still wants to like have a crave.
Affection, hug me.
Well, not just that, but her biggest thing was like she wanted to feel the crave to where she felt like she wanted to cross the line, but they had enough faith to not. They were strong enough in their faith walk to not cross the line, but they had enough physical connection to where they had the crave too, if that makes sense. So I get what Brittany was talking about, because if she's physical touch like I am, or anybody is physical touch is their main love language, then yeah, you want to touch each other, hold hands, whatever. And it was hilarious. He was like, I came into the room to try to initiate. If it's 3 o'clock in the morning, we're trying to initiate touch. You know what I mean? Like he did do some stuff. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? But I don't know. He's a in my opinion, he's a good dude. It's just it was just crazy to see the reaction from the internet to Keenan. Everybody paying him to be the villain because of his phone, and that was hilarious to me because boy was on his phone. Like I understand your principle, but bro, you were like on this phone all the time. So
crazy.
that was fun.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I don't know. I think it was just like maybe them seeing each other and they hyped it up too much, or I don't know. Like I thought there was more there. I had hope for more there, but
yeah, that was one of the couples that when watching the honeymoon, I thought there'd be 2 couples that made it: Johnny and Amy, and Kid Happy Birthday.
Yeah, same.
And they didn't. Like Jimmy and Chelsea Fox, I felt like they could have made it. But I don't know that like Aiden and Clay, I didn't think would make it, and then
I thought they would eventually.
No, I didn't think they would. Clay was just too weird for me. Like I was like, bro, this man's so airheaded. There's no way he makes it to the altar.
I had hope for him.
Yeah. Next up, we're gonna go to them. I don't have too many comments on this couple. Johnny and Amy. Anybody want to talk about them? Say anything about Johnny and Amy?
You know, I have some issues with how Johnny was. Oh well, we're going to put you on birth control and blah, blah, blah. Sir, you don't know what condoms are? You don't want to use condoms? Why does it have to be all on Amy to have the contraception? Like, and she's like, well, I don't really want to put that stuff in my body. He's like, well, I don't want to do anything until you decide you're going to be put on birth control. And, you know, vasectomies aren't reversible as they say that they are. Sir, get you a condom and go about your business.
So he did look up research. I'll give him credit. That was dumb to me too. Like I was like, what is going on here? That's their only argument. But he did do research on vasectomies. And I'm like, that's interesting to me. I'm like, what is that's the point you go to? Like you do research on vasectomies?
He was so scared of having a baby before his time. He was willing to do anything. You can see the fear in his eyes. He was like, oh my gosh, no, you have to go.
Boy had plans. He had plans.
He had plans. He was like, I'm not having a baby right now to mess up those plans. Like, he was just scared. But I feel like he was ignorant about the whole birth control thing. But I wish he would, like, how would you tell a whole woman, like, what she's going to do with birth control? Like, that thing alone, like, do you know how it messes you up, like, your hormones and everything? And I was just like, no, like, he needs to get educated, because if you just out here taking birth control, and there are a lot of other options. I just feel like, I mean, now I hope they have their research done and everything, but at that moment, he just came up as ignorant, and he was scared. He was really scared about having a kid.
I think at the reunion, though, that they said that she wasn't on birth control or something like that, and they kind of did some research on things and looked at things. So I don't think she did.
She's not. She did say that. But the interesting thing to me too was that she was like, it makes sense for me to be on birth control though, because her doctors recommended to her, because she already has a hormone imbalance, and that would balance her out currently. But the fear of like putting that into her body, it was so interesting to me, because I'm like, if everything lines up to do it, like your doctor's recommending it because it would help you out, and then your fiance is like, I don't want to have babies, then why not? I understand the arguments against it, but if the doctor recommends it and then your fiance recommends it, like I don't understand.
I feel like she's woke just like me. She knows like that thing is poison. But you know what it does to your body? Like, it's actually poison you're putting in your body, like just messing up. You're not supposed to just stop your cycle, like just make it halt. Like, that's crazy. It does a lot of things, but there are a lot of natural birth controls. Like, you can check your temperature every morning, and just there's a lot of ways you can avoid getting pregnant.
Right. That was my thing too. I'm like, girl, know when you're ovulating. Exactly. All you have to do is know when you're ovulating. You're good.
That's hilarious. So yeah, Johnny and Amy from the beginning, I was like, this is the couple. Like, there's always every single season, there's one couple that I'm like, they're gonna make it. And like season 4, it was Brett and Tiffany. I was like, that's the perfect couple. They're gonna make it. Season 3, I forget all the different seasons, everybody in DFW. But there's just couples. You just like, oh, season 3 was the girl I didn't like and her husband, the white dude and the white girl. I forget their names. They went to reunion. I hate them. I don't like them. But also because
right?
Yes, also because they ganged up on my boy Cole, and I'm still Team Cole to this day.
I almost thought birth control was going to break it up for them. I was like, are y'all serious? Like, that's the biggest thing for you. Y'all about to be engaged, married, and if you're not on birth control, like, results are probably going to have a baby. And like, if that's your plan, like, to be a marriage and have babies, then why is that such a big deal? Unless you're, I don't know, messing around or stuff. But I don't know. I was rooting for them. I wanted to see their, what do you call it? Their marriage, like whenever it aired. Like, I didn't want to skip. Actually, I mean, I knew they were the only ones, so at least I wanted to experience the only couple that made it, see their wedding. So I didn't skip it all the way to Clay. I still wanted to see the couple, just because it for me, it's like I really dislike whenever they start bringing in people that are not in the marriage. Like, per se, if there's 5 groups, 5 couples, I don't like it when they bring other people inside of it, because then it's like you're making it more into a show than trying to let the marriage grow and have the people that are the couples, I guess, vibe with each other, get to know each other, learn from each other. But once you start adding those single peoples in there, you're starting to mess things up. And so
he hates the drama when they bring other people back.
Yeah, I love I hate the drama because I'm like, the point of this is to find success and and so I really dislike whenever they start bringing in like the single people or whatnot. So, but
you know what I did love though? They brought the one black girl who was just in the show. She didn't have anybody that she dated that they showed, but they just kept bringing her back. I was like, let's show a black woman that's not toxic. Like, she's just a good friend. And like, it's just been weird. Like, I've seen her all over Instagram too, just like from her. I'm like, this is the most random person that just has has the same fame to an extent as everybody else, but didn't fall in love with anybody and just been a friend on the show. So
he always asks, he's like, "Who is that?" And I'm like, she's just one of the friends. And he's like,
just one of
the there.
Diversity quarter.
Yeah, exactly. DEI for sure. Do you guys want to? We have about I think we're at the hour mark, close to it. Do you guys want to talk about AD and Clay, or do you guys want to talk about Jeremy and Laura Sarah?
I don't care about Jeremy and Laura. Let's talk about AD and Clay. Red flag ass. Let's talk about.
Wait, can I say something real quick? Can we just give a shout out to the mothers of this season, because they were the real ones? AD's mom, Clay's mom, Jeremy's mom. Putting people in place and letting them know, why are you acting this way? Why are you doing this? You don't got to be how things are making you seem. Those were the real MVPs of the season. That's all I got to say.
And shout out Clay's dad for being a real.
I was like, when I met Clay's dad, I'm like, it all makes sense. It all makes sense. It all makes sense for the way
his dad looks like the dude that's just his son's friend. Like, you never fathered this man at all, and it shows.
Facts.
He's
just a cool dude. Because who in their right mind takes their son on infidelity trips to cheat on their wife?
That's crazy.
That's wild.
That's crazy work. So, shout out to them for AD and Clay. So here's my opinions on AD and Clay. If my girlfriend was here, she would be like, she's team AD. AD could do no wrong, in her opinion. But I feel like AD just wanted to marry somebody. She didn't give it, like, she wanted to have the best person possible, but in the pods, it just seemed like she wanted to get married. Like, she was going to experiment to find the right guy, but she was so bent on, like, I'm going to find him and I'm going to marry somebody, the best option possible, not like true love. Like, the fact that Matthew was an option during the pods and then post pods just kind of confirms that to me, of like, she just wants to get married. And that's my thought about it. She was fantastic. she did her best to stick to her man and try to motivate Clay to marry her and all this other stuff. But she just wanted to get married. Clay, I don't know. That man from the pods, I was like, this dude is weird. But what's y'all's thoughts about it?
Well, to Zionna's thing of the AD's a pick me, I don't think you can be a pick me if you're already picked. So there's a difference in trying to make your relationship work and showing someone that you're there for them versus being a pick me to that person. So I don't think AD was a pick me at all. Same with Chelsea. I don't think she was a pick me either. They were already picked. But I think they were trying to make their relationships work any way that they can. And I don't see anything wrong with that.
I don't know what a pick me is. I guess it's like a new terminology. I don't know what that means.
We need to define that, because I understand what you're saying, Jasmine, and I agree. Like, there's a side to, okay, we already picked for this, we're in this together, let's try to make this work. But for me, the reason why I call them pick me's is because I have such high expectations for them. I'm like, you guys are both beautiful, smart women. Like, even Jess said it. She was like, it was hard watching Chelsea back, because she was like, she saw her as, or was it AD? I think it was AD who said it, but she was like, she saw Chelsea as such a strong woman that's like, you can't just let a man like toy with your emotions like that. And I feel like with AD specifically, I love her to death. She's awesome. She has a great personality. I just feel like she continually ignored red flags, and just like, not just small red flags, huge red flags, just because she wanted to make this work. Like, it doesn't matter if you're trying to make this work. If a man is telling you he's going to cheat on you, there's no this work. Like, we need to talk about this. And I know she mentioned, like, in an interview that she was checking in with Clay at every step and was like, hey, I'm ready to leave. Like, if you're ready to like let this go, I'm ready to walk away. Like, we don't have to get married. Like, we can just, but she was still willing to. I feel like Clay was still talking her into this and be like, oh yeah, we can still make this work, just because he wanted his TV moment and he planned this whole thing. He's a mastermind. Clay, shout out to you. You deserve Clay, master production. He planned this whole thing out. He was like, I'm gonna make her get to the altar, and once we get there, I'm gonna say no. It's gonna be dramatic. I'm gonna be star of the show. Kudos to you, Clay. You got your 2 cents. But back to AD specifically, let me just wrap up my thoughts on her. I feel like she continued to ignore huge red flags, not just little red flags, to try to make this work. But there were things that were fundamental to marriage. Like, if a man is, talking about cheating on you, infidelity, and all these other things, like, he keeps saying, if a man keeps saying you're too good for me, like, that's a sign. You need to let that man go, because he's just going to cause you so much turmoil and heartache. Like, when you're getting married to someone, that's supposed to be like relatively a smooth journey. Like, it's not easy, but like, it's not supposed to be so hard. And I just feel like it was so hard, and she was gripping onto this idea she had of AD as this successful Black man, and it's going to be Black love. I love that. We all love that. But at the end of the day, he was a walking red flag. And I have so much high expectations for her that I'm like, girl, you deserve better than to settle for this man. You deserve better. So that's why I called her a pick me, because I feel like she wanted to be picked so bad. She was willing to ignore red flags. And that's my definition of a pick me. Not necessarily like he was already picked. Like, she knew she was beautiful. Okay, whatever. But she was willing to ignore those things to be picked. That's why I called her a pick me. But
she knew what she was getting into, because she's even said in interviews, I knew those things that Clay was doing. And it just looks like, because production, that's what they do. It makes it seem like she even said it made it just seem like I was blindly following him and not thinking about anything that he was doing. She said, I knew that. And like you said, she did go and say, hey, I'm ready to walk away. If you're ready to walk away. But he was like, no, I want to make this work with you. I want to make this work with you. I want to be with you. So she's like, okay, well, I can still leave at any time. She knew what she wanted to do. She knew that she could leave, but he was still willing to make it work too.
Mm.
So that's what we also have to consider too, it's not all on AD, because Clay was still in her face saying, no, I still want to make this work. I know this is hard. I know I'm saying this. And she was telling him, you don't have to be like your dad. You can be better than your dad. You don't have to cheat and you don't have to do all this stuff, hoping that maybe it would get into his head. But it is what it is. I don't think she's a pick me because of that. I think Clay was more on the toxic side. She didn't ignore the red flags. She did see them. It's just how everything made it, production made it seem. But Clay didn't want to be married because he even said on there, people get married off of this thing, like from the beginning.
That man is delusional. Like that man, I'm like, we need to have a psychoanalysis on that man. And that man literally discredited all black men don't cheat allegation. He threw it out the window. He discredited all y'all black men don't cheat. I'm sorry, Clay literally put that in a dumpster, and it's like discredited. Like your whole organization is done single-handedly by Clay and his father. But at the end of the day,
wait, I think Clay's father is actually Dominican, so he doesn't qualify. For black men still don't cheat. But anyways, so I think AD is going to make a great wife to somebody. Beautiful girl, but by your definition, Z, if that's what a pick me means, I agree. But I don't think that's what everybody thinks a pick me means. I've heard the terminology before, but I don't know what it means. But like I said when I talked about AD, I think she was willing to marry somebody. She wanted to get married. Like no matter what, she wanted to get married. And I know she said in the interviews, like, Clay was assuring her or whatever, she wanted to get married. I think that was her thing. Clay, toxic, didn't know. He didn't like that was hilarious to me. Like when he said, people get married. It's like, what do you mean? Do you know? Like this is what the show's about. You said you binge watched the show before going on. You saw people get married. Like, and it's funny. She's like, maybe we don't have to get married. We can work. In his mind, I guess he was thinking, we don't have to get married. We can still date after the show. I think that's in his mind. That was it. And he wasn't willing to marry her in the 8 weeks. But it's like, no, bro. Like, this is the show. This is the experiment. This is what you signed up for. If you're going to be on a show, choose to get married. Don't go in thinking like, oh, we can continue to date. Like, he wanted to find a girl to potentially marry, but he can date. She was going in for marriage. And so that's like Clay's situation is hilarious to me. But I don't. It was weird to me, like all the things he did, the soup situation where he's like slurping the soup, and like his conversations, they never like led anywhere. I feel like he was just talking, but there was nothing like up here. Like when I found out, they said it in the pods, but it really didn't click with me until like he was working. He's an entrepreneur with multiple businesses. I was like, this guy has multiple businesses. He has bread. He had a house, a nice house, multiple cars. Like I was like, bro, this dude has bread. This guy, like he gave belief in me that I could build any type of business I want to. If this guy can make hundreds of thousands of dollars, I could do something. Because like something was missing up here, in my opinion. At the reunion, he seemed more put together. He was very better. But during the show, it just seemed like he would just say anything, and then AD would say something, and he's like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
That's because at that point, by the reunion, he had already started going to therapy. What I think should have happened is he knew he needed to go to therapy after the pods. AD at that point should have said, well, let's go to therapy together. Because then I think that something would have probably changed in him and been like, okay, well, I can actually marry this girl. Because now we're going to start talking about things that need to be brought out and things that need to be changed.
I feel like she deserves way better. Like she's not here to fix him. She's not his mom. Like it was such a red flag when.
Does she though? She dated Matthew, right? She dated Matthew after the show. Does she deserve? That man's a serial killer. Does he deserve?
Let me just state for the record, I actually like Matthew. Oh, stones. I like Matthew. I'm sorry, tomatoes, throw it at me. I feel like he's odd. He's very odd.
I think he's on the spectrum.
He's on the spectrum. I feel like he's on the spectrum. And
America is going to see this. What are you talking about, dude? Matthew's so weird. I think Z just think he's attractive. That's fine. He's a very big white dude. corporate accountant look, fine. If you want to call him attractive, sure. But the man was weird. The man was weird.
It's not just his. I mean, he's the way he acts, and he's so like blunt and very like he's weird. But he did say that he didn't like walk out.
He was like he alone by himself. People didn't even know he was fucking there. Like, no, it was weird.
No, he was walking out on girls. Like girls would be in the middle of the conversation, and he would literally just walk out the room.
Weird.
Like, Matthew literally gave
that was rude.
No F's, bro.
Like when Clay was like Matthew, that dude. I was like, of course he said that. Of course he did.
Well,
I think Matthew is hilarious. Honestly, like I feel like he's on the spectrum, and he's weird. He does give serial killer vibes, but I don't think he's as like just completely horrible as people paint him out to be. If not, why did he make it on the show? They need to vet people more, honestly, because like apparently they don't vet people. They're just like, oh, if you look good or whatever, if you can meet the vibe of the show, they'll let you in. But they need to actually do background checks. They need to vet people a lot for this show, because like Matthew definitely gave serial killer vibes, but I like him as a character. I think his performance was hilarious, and he had a little spice.
They need more. If this show is going to be Love Is Blind, they need more unattractive people. In my opinion, they need, because every single person that goes in this show that they've shown at least is attractive. Like handsome dudes, beautiful women. Like Chelsea's not the most gorgeous girl, but she's still a pretty girl. Yeah, like when you saw Chelsea's friends, I was like, of course she thinks she's Megan Fox, because compared to her fucking friends, she looks way better than her friends.
Oh, no.
So I get that's why I call you Megan Fox, because you look years beyond what your friends look like. You know what I mean? So like give me some unattractive people on this show, like normal looking human beings.
I feel like they were pretty normal. I don't think there's a lot of like really unattractive when you really think
give me somebody that's fat. Like the fact that they show Kenneth rolls in the bed, I was like, there we go, big boy. They show like he rolled over and his shirt was off and he had his rolls. I was like, there we go, my boy get some airtime. Kenneth, I was anyways. That's what, like, give me more of that. Like bigger women, bigger dudes. Let's get a variety. You can still have attractive people. Don't get me wrong, because Amy was beautiful. Jess was beautiful. Like, there's people in the show that were gorgeous, but like, give me more of like they're normal looking people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
I could see that.
Matt, he's coming out with something. He got all these people tagged, talking about his story is going to be told. He tagged Kim Kardashian.
Justice for Matthew.
He is.
No.
I like Matthew. I don't care. I feel like he's very weird. I just like him. I don't know. And I can see why AD went on another date. I'm sorry. I can see why.
First of all, 2 dates. 2.5 dates. I'm pretty sure the other date was just sex. Honestly, that's the vibes I was getting from AD.
Dang. Let's talk about the sexualization of AD and the sexualization of Black women.
We can do that. No, we can do that in different vibe. I feel like she did it herself though, because
we can cut that short, because she even told Clay, "I don't want to tell you what I look like because men always go off my looks."
Yeah, but then once she saw him, I feel like she was leading with her body a lot of the times, and
that's just who she is. That's why she didn't even want to go into that conversation.
She needs more deeper work, because even when people were asking her like, why did at the altar he was like, okay, body, and she was like, you see the material, like people were like, why don't you see how that is not appropriate, like just for like a wedding, like this is, it was just too much on her body as opposed to who she is as a person. And this is another problem I have with Clay specifically, because when he was asked to describe why he loved AD, everything he was saying was, she makes me feel good. She makes me feel this. She makes me feel seen. Obviously, she's sexy, beautiful, whatever. But he never talked about characteristics of AD as a person that makes her a whole person. Like, what makes AD? Like, why do you love her for who she is? It was just more of what she did for him or her body. And that was very problematic in general. And that's why I have a problem with just the too much sexualization of AD, which, I mean, she kind of caused it partially, but at the end of the day, like, Clay, he's just really messed up. And the fact that he couldn't find words to describe why he loved AD just proved that he was faking everything from the beginning. He had an agenda, and he just came on here to be TikTok famous. And maybe now he's had work done. He's gone to therapy. I don't know. He was looking a little off at the reunion, like blinking,
Jeez, whose phone was that?
stiff and blinking weirdly. I was like, I'm gonna pray for you, Clay. But
So just to give my boy, not my boy, Clay's not my boy, but just to give him a little bit of a pass. The first thing he talks about after the pods is he sees they're in the pool. And I think this was like a cut afterwards, but they're in the pool, and obviously he sees AD in her body, and he's like she's very beautiful, but I don't want to sexualize her, over sexualize her. So I will give him credit because he did say that. He's like, I want to get to know her for her and not just her body. She's more than just her body. I don't want to over sexualize her. So he did. Just to give him some little bit of credit, he did say that. Now, if you don't feel like he did that, that's fine. I'm not trying to defend Clay, but I do want to point that out as well.
And why can't she look good for her man? Like that's just what she wants.
She can.
But
it's just I don't know.
I do agree in society, and just touch on what you said, there is a over sexualization of black women, but I also think that society also sees the black woman as the height of what to look like, because you see a lot of celebrities with the big butts. To mimic that, they get BBLs, things like that. So that's kind of been like that. But that's also why I love this show, and that's what makes me mad, because I also think that Jess would have been just as sexualized, in my opinion, if she had more airtime, but she didn't. But that's also been my complaint about the show, because everybody loves what Jess said to Jimmy about like the EpiPen, which it was online. I get that, but it was like the show is not about that. So why is he going to make why is Jimmy going to faint when you see it? It's because she knows she looks good, right? And so it's like everybody's like, yes, Jimmy's going to hate the fact that he chose Chelsea because Jess is so beautiful, and she is very beautiful. But that's not what the show is about, right? So that I agree with what you're saying. There's definitely a sexualization, and that's why I also want like normal looking people and not people that look like they are already celebrities. Like Jess fits. Everybody call her a Kardashian because of the way her build is, right? Same thing for AD's beautiful woman. Now there's a lot of complaints about AD's hair and her eyelashes and her makeup, but there's even my girlfriend was like, "AD, put some makeup on." Sometimes
it was crazy, but
can we just let black women be natural? The eyelashes, that was too much.
Yeah,
but her without her makeup,
she's beautiful. But women, y'all do y'all own thing. Anyways, I'm not a person commenting on women's makeup or what they look like, because I'm not trying to get roasted by women, especially not black women, especially on Twitter. Black women on Twitter.
AD is my girl. She's the best person I've ever seen in all these seasons. I would be friends with her for sure. I want to be friends with her. She's so nice. She's so great. Like, I just think she was just honest and like open, and like she was like what this like show is about, like what you want in a person to like look and like hope and find love for. But I was just dead after that man said no. She looked at her family. She was like, so we ready to go? No. And I was like, my heart was broken for her. I was like,
I was glad because she dodged a bullet with Clay. Anyway, it was sad.
I agree, but I thought that he was gonna like. I had hope for him that he was gonna like figure out like what I have in front of me is like golden. But he didn't, and he didn't wake up, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He didn't wake up. It's hilarious.
I was gonna say yes because like AD just gave him all the support. Like he was feeling like if he was not feeling confident about something, like she had his back, and so it's almost like he could mess up something, and she was there to be like, "I got you. It's all right. We'll fix this." And
they could have run the world, y'all.
Yeah.
They could have had us all on like. They could have added trends. They could have made their own business. Like then they would have had the whole world on them because of like how good of like a couple they were like together. If they would have like continued,
I thought Clay was weird. This is what I talked about earlier. I thought he was weird and airheaded. Like the fact that this man owned multiple businesses and like his house was nice. He just seemed like he would start talking and like in my mind it's like a hamster's running on this wheel and it would just stop. And I'm like, what is this man talking about right now? Like, he just sounds weird. And then when AD would talk, he would affirm what she's saying. He was like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm like, Clay, what the hell are you saying right now, bro? Like, he was just weird to me. I don't know. Clay was weird. As much as people love Clay, he was weird. In my opinion.
Like, I think he was probably putting up a facade. Like, he was trying to portray a good person, and like his brain probably wasn't thinking as fast as like his mind could like say something. That's probably why.
Yeah. I don't know. But he was like, I was like, this dude he's an account executive. He owns multiple businesses and is successful. This guy. Crazy.
Yeah.
They should have had his parents on the reunion. That's all I'm gonna say about them too. I wanted to see what happened with them. With their parents.
There, like they put their family business out there. It was like,
Oh yeah.
Like,
they really did.
I don't really need to be knowing all this, but it's okay.
And the mom saying that she didn't know any of this stuff until she watched everything. That's crazy.
She didn't know they played it.
Well, some things for sure.
Yeah, she didn't know that he was taking her, or Clay's dad was taking him with him.
Yeah.
You know what's weird though about the situation is what I didn't find like. This is what I found weird when she met AD the first time, and then she was like, I was married for 24 years. It's like that nigga cheated on you though. Like what? Like how are you gonna talk like you have this experience? I get it. You're married. You with yourself, but like it was just weird for me of like. Oh yeah, I had 24 years worth of experience, and I'm like, but was it successful? I don't know.
On her side, yeah. Like
no, I don't think so though, because I don't know. Maybe he just cheats and he's a cheater.
You
but
can
like
be
what?
a perfect person, do everything for your person, and that could probably still not be enough for the person. They still need to do other things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
Gotcha.
in your side, you're like, hey, I'm. Like if you're a woman, I don't know, you're doing like the gender roles per se. Like I feed you, the house is always clean. I take care of the kids, And at the end, he's still going on a business trip or whatever, and still messing around. So it's like from her side, she's doing everything right, but it's still not enough for the man.
And that makes sense. That makes a ton of sense. But I'm just saying to lead with like I was married for 24 years. Maybe say I was a great wife for 24 years. I don't know. Maybe just it might be the semantics of it that I'm just like stuck with. Because like to say I was married for 24 years means that there was a successful marriage, but the end result was you got cheated on. Like that's in my mind, it's not a successful marriage.
But is that
so why? It's not. But I just don't want to like.
I see what
if you're an expert in your field, right? You would say I've been doing this career for 10 plus years. Here's my success. She said, I can give you advice because I was married for 24 years, but it didn't end in success. So that's what I'm throwing off of like, how can you use that as the example? Like, be like me, I'm the example, but then it wasn't successful. That's what throws me off. And that might be my own thing and the semantics of it.
I think so.
But that's it was just weird to me. So
it's just that she speaks from experience. And like I said, it's just the fact if her husband would have not messed up and cheated or do all that stuff, it would have been a success, but it's not on her that it wasn't successful. Yep. So that's why I feel like she's like, I can give you the roadmap because this is what I did to fulfill what I was supposed to do as a wife, as a mom, and all this stuff. But if you find the right man, it will lead to a success. Mm-hmm. But since I met a man that cheated on me, and no matter what I did, it wasn't enough for him. Because of him, it wasn't successful. So it's like for her, she did everything right, successful, but unfortunately, the guy messed up. And if he would have done his part of not cheating and stay committed to his wife, that would have been like what you say, a successful marriage. So gotcha. I think she's got a lot to say, and if she were to like say stuff to Adriana, I'd be like I would like that would be a good person to hear from. I think because of that type of woman she was and committed she was to that relationship and the marriage. Gotcha. And so
I think she was just talking about like the beginning stages of like marriage, because like I feel like all married couples kind of go through the similar things in the beginning, at least like the first few years, and then like after that you have your own battles and stuff. But, yeah. Gotcha. Bless her heart, she's the greatest. I thought they were great. Her. She was really great, and 80's mom too.
So last couple, and let's keep this brief. There's a lot of comments. There's a lot of comments to be made, but Jeremy, Laura, and Sarah Ann. So I'll kick off my comments and then I'll let you guys wrap up. But Jeremy is in the wrong. Let me say this: Jeremy is in the wrong for what he did. Right? He shouldn't have been out with Sarah Ann till 5 a.m. If all they did was talk, that's fine. Everybody assumes that they probably had sex too. But if all they did was talk, that's fine. But why lie about it, right? In the first place, I am not mad that he didn't end up with Laura. He ended up with Sarah Ann because I am not a fan of Laura at all. I think Laura is a mean girl, and I'm not happy she got cheated on or whatever happened situation. But I just didn't like her. I didn't like her at all. So y'all can talk about Jeremy and Laura and Sarah Ann, your thoughts on the couple, but there was never a point where I was like, I like this girl. I never liked her. And the whole like the booby flip thing that she was trying to do, which I guess was just a joke between women. I don't know what y'all do, but it was just she just was off. She just was like off. She felt like a mean girl, and that's what I got the vibes I got from Laura. So him and Sarah Ann being together, the way they got together, wrong. Well, I'm not mad that they're together. And the jet ski scene was the most savage thing I've ever seen on TV in my life. Imagine coming to a barbecue, knowing your current fiance is there. Y'all argue, break up. I don't know the time frame, but let's just say 5 minutes later, the girl that you could have chosen comes as well. You guys choose to be with each other and get on jet skis and drive off and have fun while your ex-fiance is right there. Y'all just broke up. That's the most savage thing I've ever seen in my life. And I don't know, maybe something wrong with Jeremy. I don't think him and Sarah Ann end up together long term because they did break up. They said in the reunion multiple times. But I'm not mad that they didn't end up together. Like Laura needs to find a dude or whatever, but I just personally don't like Laura. So that's my thoughts. I'll let y'all.
I think Jeremy was that savage because of how Laura reacted and how she was very mean. And he was like, okay, well, if you got to be like this, I don't care. Bye. Whatever. I can't. That doesn't justify what he did. That was horrible. And just the whole situation could have been handled better. I don't think it was a good situation. But I do agree with you, Savon. Laura is definitely a mean girl. I don't like her. I don't like mean girl energy. I don't like girls that feel like, yeah, it's just I don't know. I like the mean girl vibe. She just felt like, and she felt like they spent way too much time on them. Honestly, they're insignificant. The whole storyline is kind of underwhelming, to be honest.
Yep.
The only savage thing was, okay, they ran off in the jet ski, whatever, but it was underwhelming. I did not care as much about their story specifically, but she felt like she got justice after they put Sarah Ann and Jeremy to shame. During the reunion, but at the end of the day, yeah, I do agree. She was a mean girl. I mean, she didn't deserve, everything that happened. Like, no man should be engaged to you while being with another woman till 5 a.m. Like, what are you guys talking about? That is crazy. Like, so maybe that's just how she reacts. She was just very hurt by the situation, which I understand. But I do still feel like she was a mean girl. But yeah, it's my 2 cents on them.
I feel like Laura is misunderstood. And this is the reason why I say that. Listen, she knew what she wanted. She knew she wanted a man that's going to do this, who's going to do this. She asked Jeremy, what do you do with your dishes at night? Oh, I put them up. I hate her. Oh, perfect. Like, she knew exactly what she wanted. Now, am I justifying how he talked to him? Absolutely not, because that was kind of crazy on some of those things. But she wasn't going to take no shit. She's like, either you're going to be with me or not. I understand you showed me these text messages from Sarah Ann. Cool. Thanks for doing that. But I think she did a lot of that stuff because she was hurt.
Yes. And she did a lot. Like all the comments she made to him, that's what made me like, also not like a little bit more, because it's like, I don't know. She went out of her way to like treat him like shit because she felt like she was like, she couldn't, I don't know. Maybe she just has this hard exterior, and she's very. I mean, a lot of women are this way. They have this hard exterior, but they're very soft inside. But like they like to pretend like they're not hurt, but they really are very, very hurt. And she was very, very hurt. Like you could see it too when she was crying on the beat, and she was like, "He was supposed to protect my heart." Anyways, I was like, "Get the fuck out of here, Laura!" Crying about somebody. You weren't crying before. You saw there kick rocks, open-toed sandals, whatever you said.
That was the best comeback ever.
But here's the thing: like, if you're going to be the mean person, don't do that and then come on the show and cry because he left you. No, be the same way. But that's not her. Her personality that's not her. She's hard exterior. You don't know you hurt me.
At the point, Savon, she broke down. She was done. Like, she was so.
No.
hurt by that. She was done. She's like, I can't even hold this anymore. Like I'm pissed that this is happening.
No,
right
that's why
now.
That's why I was happy when he was riding off with jet skis. I was like, this man's a savage, and I love it. Jeremy's wrong for what he's doing, but Laura is this mean girl that I did not like her. She reminded me of Micah. She reminded me of Irina, and it's just did not like her. Did not like her. Zenub. That again, justice for my boy Cole. I will never let Zenub go. Zenub, like all these mean girls, it just stacks on like season after season. There's always one, and that was Laura.
No, I agree 100% with you, Savon. Like as soon as she gives that energy, she has to keep that.
Keep that.
And so once she, like you're saying, once she broke down, like why can't you actually break down and show like, hey, I actually am hurt from this, and not try to act like a tough person? Because once you do that, it portrays you as a different person. It shows that you actually are hurt, and you're not just trying to like put a face to it, and you're just being real. Like that's a real person. If you're hurt, you're gonna show that. And so I never liked her. I never liked her because of how she always had that like mean girl attitude. And it's like, just be like, if you actually have emotions, show them. Be real with what you feel, and not just try to portray like I'm this kind of person.
She was pissed that all this stuff was happening.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. She agrees with you.
I would be her friend. I would be Laura's friend.
No.
Right? Laura is real. Laura is real.
Exactly. Yeah. Like,
Laura was not. She was. No. Laura.
Say real, but in reality, they're just rude and they like to cover it up with being real.
I don't
think it's rude. I don't think she was.
It comes from her.
Hold on. Let somebody speak. Like one person.
It wasn't rude. I don't think what she said was rude. It might have been her tone that people take it as like bad, but she's just saying like how it is. Like if you don't like it, I mean, unfortunately, like it hurts your feelings. Like this is not a time, like it's a reality show. Like you have to be what's real, like what's the facts. And that's how she was. And I know she has a really hard exterior, like with the kick rocks. That's the best thing ever. Like how you said that. That's literally golden. I love it. And I told him all the time, I was like, I would be her friend. She's real. She's like, she was nice with all her friends, like that were in the pods. Like she even told Sarah Ann, like she was like, you'll find someone someday. Like this is just my person. Like, oh, we went in a different color. Okay, anyways, but yeah. So yeah, she's just a hard exterior. She's a different type of personality. And it's not a lot where people can actually take.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I agree with what you're saying. She's a great friend. But friend and fiance, I feel like two different things. Because as a fiance, you can't you have to show emotions. And I don't know, maybe she's just used to shit going her way, and like you either get on the train or you're not. But like I don't know. Again, I don't know. I don't know her dynamic. I just didn't like her in the first place.
She was just trying to be black and white, and I think what we saw was a lot of like she said, like
black.
This is what we want.
It's actually white. No, white's bad. She did a lot of white.
And like Jeremy wasn't like he was saying these stuff in the pods, like, oh yeah, I'm like this. I'm just exactly what you said. But then when it came to like real life, it was all like jacked up. So that's when she started to have this like
you're not
like
true.
hardcore, like hard exterior with everyone and everything.
I don't know what they meant there. Was it her family? They were both talking smack at each other. So that's just how they are. So
yeah.
No, I couldn't do that. No.
With his Hawaiian shirts.
She couldn't. I couldn't.
So Jeremy and Laura, are you guys so to Jeremy have chosen Sarah Ann? Like, do you think their relationship actually will work out, or what's y'all's thoughts on who Jeremy should, or should Jeremy just kind of kick rocks?
I have nothing nice to say about Sarah Ann. She is literally the worst human being in the entire world. I don't care like what if you're coming out nice and all this other stuff later. No, you messaged engaged man. You're done. Like you have lost all respect for women in someone else's relationship at that moment that you decided you tried to be nice to send a message. Like, no, negative. Absolutely not. Jeremy, for him, like telling her about that message, like I see that there was kind of like, he should have went about it a different way. I don't think he should have liked it or acknowledged it until he showed Laura first. But so he kind of just like went down after that. But yeah.
So just to play devil's advocate, right?
Uh-huh.
I can see why Sarah Ann sent the message because they are engaged. Is it respectful to do that? Absolutely not. But they were in the pods for a week, 2 weeks, and so like to think if you're running the experiment properly, then you should not do that. But if because he he kind of told her too. He was like, "There's nothing I can really say about you that makes me want to pick Laura over you. It's just a feeling, right? So you say you love this person, y'all love each other, y'all in the pause for a week. I understand why she sent the message personally, just because it was only been a week. If for some reason this love that you experience in the pods fades, in the show you're engaged, but in real life are you? I kind of get why she sent it. It's like future shot regardless. But is it right? Absolutely not. I agree
But
with that.
if
They're
you're gonna
great.
send a message, wait till it doesn't work out. Don't
Yeah.
wish negative on my relationship. Oh well, if it doesn't work out, I'm still here. Why don't
That's
you
fair
wait
too.
to see how it plays out, and then if you see that they're not together, shoot your shot then.
The top part of her message was
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
until the part about the door being open. That's
Mhm.
where it was out of
Yeah.
crossing the line. Yeah.
So do you guys think that had this Sarah Ann situation not going down at all, let's say like he's not out with her till 5 a.m. Do you think Jeremy and Laura would have survived?
No.
Yes.
No.
You think
Something else
so?
would have happened, and she would react the same way.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah. I don't think he was up to par with like he was all talk but not like doing the actions for her.
Yeah, Jeremy was nice.
I just think no matter anything he did that he messed up, that would always be her response. So that's why, like, I get what she's saying about like he needs to step it up, but like no matter, I just feel that no matter what, we're gonna get that from her.
As much as I don't like Laura, I think Jeremy was shysty. One, the fact that he couldn't admit to her about where he was at. Like, why lie? She has the location. That setup, by the way, that setup by Laura. What'd you say, Z? Oscar worthy, Z. That was Oscar worthy. I was like, this was the perfect setup. She gave that man an alley oop to tell the truth. He didn't, and she shut that shit down. Like I was like, that was such a beautiful setup. She was like, if you don't want me to check your location at 5 a.m., don't have it on there. And I was like, Laura, oh my god, that was crazy. But why lie? Like, why lie in the first place? Like, if nothing really happened, like you said it did, why lie? That was nice. And then the reunion, when I heard he was talking shit about my boy Jimmy, like, no, justice for Jimmy. Like,
I got
no,
enough on my plate.
Yeah, he's like I got enough on my plate.
right? Like, I'm like, bro, like, so because Jimmy said he was talking shit in the pods too. So I'm like, bro, Jeremy. I don't know. I didn't hate the guy, but I didn't like the guy. There was no feelings towards Jeremy at all. The only person I have strong feelings towards is Laura. I just did not like Laura. Didn't like her.
Yeah.
But don't ever compare her to Zanab because Zanab is a manipulated person and she is nothing like Laura.
No.
They do not need to be on the same like this person versus this person because Zanab is a whole another low of like bad. Sarah and low, like they're on the same playing field.
Because
So no. Hold on. I want to make sure that Adriana knows where I stand. So, in my opinion, because Jess hangs out with Laura. Laura, they hang out with Chelsea too. So I don't know how Chelsea plays into that, but Jess has a strong connection with Micah as well. Micah, obviously, we saw season 4 and her and Irina being mean girls. I still don't like Micah. So the fact that you can hang out with Micah and Laura's already a mean girl, in my opinion. You hang out with Micah, that puts Jess in the same like birds of a feather flock together situation. So like I just think they're all just mean girls. Zena just happens to be a mean girl, period, based off of what happened with my boy Cole. I will never let that go. Like that's always I'm always team Cole. Like
Zeneb was a manipulator, a mass manipulator. She lied about situations and blew things out of proportion and it wasn't true.
Crazy. Cuties. To this day. Cuties. That's still to this day. Crazy. But so season 6, again, messy. Appreciate you guys for joining. I know you guys had a lot of stuff going on. Appreciate you guys for joining as much as you could. So where does this season rank for you guys? We'll wrap up with this. Where does this season rank for you guys amongst the seasons you've seen so far?
This is the best season with a T.
I will say based on what? Based on what? Yeah.
I feel like with the drama is probably the best season. As far as like how things could have gone, it's not up there. Like season 1 was up there with what they had like 3 couples like still married to this day on season 1. So
yeah, season 1 is number 1 for me. Always will be. Season 2. This season is number 2 because of just how messy it was. I mean, I wish there were more people who stick together. Well, I feel like as the show progresses, more people who don't really care about love and just want fame go on the show, and it just gets less and less each time. So I feel like season 1 had a purity to it where people really didn't know what was going on. They just want to find love. It was an experiment, and that was a really true experiment. And everything after that, it just keeps getting watered down. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe after they shame people on this season, people next season will actually be like good people. But we'll see what happens. But number 2 for the drama.
See, my favorite season so far was season 4, the Seattle season. That was my favorite season.
That was good.
That,
Yeah.
so that and just because I think for me as a person that likes this show, it's because of the experiment. Like I don't want people to go on the show. Like a lot of people talked about people's looks. They're like, Jess is so beautiful. You can't believe that Jimmy told her no. He's gonna choke EpiPen, all this other stuff. I'm like, it's not about that, right? AD's beautiful too, but it's not about that. Like it's about a show where you find somebody based on personality, and if it looked great, that's a plus. But it's built on that. It's a true experiment. So that's why like season 4 for me, I really like because there was more couples, and there was more couples where you're like they're gonna work out, right? Like as much as people didn't think Kwame really liked that girl because it was a second choice,
Chelsea?
they yeah Chelsea, they're still together, and he really loves her, and he's proven that. Tiffany and Brett were as the Brett is the best couple ever. The best and so there's so much love in that season. And then obviously I heard the guy that chose Irina and then went back and chose
Zach and Bliss.
Zach and Bliss.
Oh,
Beautiful couple, right?
Beautiful.
And wrong choice in the first place. We already talked about it in the previous season. But that was fantastic. And so for me, that season was the best. This season was like you said, a lot of drama. But the fact that the only person there was only one couple that got married, I think that's the least it's ever been. At least I think so. Least it's ever been. And then the couple that got married were so anticlimactic. I'm like, nobody wants to watch. Like it was a good season to watch, but it's like the favorite season. No, Seattle favorite season. My favorite teen drama is Dallas, just because of Bartiz and all the stuff that went down, and Cole and the cuties. It's that was the best drama. This season had a lot of drama, but it was just like I don't know. But the most savage thing that happened this season was Jeremy driving off the jet skis. I thought that was so funny. I was like, that's what you get. But I appreciate you guys. We are now wrapped up. Long pod. I'm gonna edit this a little bit, but I appreciate you guys for joining for our review of season 6 of Love Is Blind. Appreciate you guys tuning out.
Thanks for having us.
For sure.
Bye.